Howdy and welcome to the channel. If you read the title of the video, you know what I'm going to be talking about. So, essentially, how you facilitate a change between the current capitalist hellscape we're in into something that lacks such a big class disparity and is a lot more stable in general is essentially just two things. Is first of all, take away most of the weird ass policies that the US has in place because most of them are really just to serve rich people. But essentially, you just need a few framework laws, like, regular ass ones like don't murder, don't rape people, um, don't steal. But essentially, after that, you need some pretty bare bones economic policies. So instead of it being, you know, we won't even tax like billionaires because they own our government. It is the government is ran entirely by the populace, which, yes, this is communism. Deal with it. And you're going to need a government ran by the populace. And I don't mean like everyone is going to be like, here is exactly what I want, and everyone is going to get what they want. What I mean is every individual person gets to vote on what they want and have propositions added that can be voted upon. Right? Because fuck the Electoral College. That's a bit off topic, but essentially, what we need is laws saying what people can and cannot hoard. That being, past a certain amount, you just can't amass any more wealth legally. What I think needs to be put in place is, and this is an example, of course, like this is all theoretical because I'm not rich enough to buy out the US government, right? Essentially, though, you have to make it illegal to have more than a certain amount of money or a certain amount of resources or whatever the case is. Say anything more than $400,000, um, all of that goes to a community controlled fund, which is then used to build shit for the community, that being better roads and bridges and shit, better housing, and, goes back towards funding things like growing food and research into medical and technological advancements. Because essentially, capitalism is based off of having way more than you need, right? Or at least the current stage of capitalist, corporatist, and cronyist capitalism that the US is in right now. So essentially, you can't have more, way more than you need. You can still have excess as an individual. You can still be a part of a slightly higher upper class, but it can only be slightly higher, right? Essentially, though, you can amass wealth, but it cuts off at a certain point, and then that wealth is used for the betterment of the community. And as a result, people who then want to have a better experience in said community will then work together to create more resources and actively work to better said community, because they can't hoard resources to make their lives more lavish. They have to make everyone's lives more lavish in the process and everyone's lives better to experience that themselves. Because to elevate the upper class in this scenario, you need to elevate everything. Because at the end of the day, there are little hills in the plains, but you gotta raise the entire continent to be higher, right? You can't just shovel dirt over that hill. I know that this is kind of on kind of been on a tangent, thank you for listening, and see y'all. I'm also probably going to be speaking a bit about kind of shit that I hate about current politics and shit in other videos, right? And mind you, this is only like a single economic idea that I have. Um, I don't know if people have said it before me. They may have, but I guess let me know in the comments if they have, and also let me know if you agree with me or you have any other better economic ideas to add to this. Because my goal at the end of the day is to create sort of a manuscript and a really just